Welcome everyone to the Kunal Call. I'm Kunal here and I am joined by Nikhil, who is a first time guest at the Kunal Call. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Kunal. It's such a pleasure to be on.
The big discussion is going to be about Floyd Mayweather versus Jake Paul, who have a boxing match, an exhibition match on Sunday in America, Monday morning here. What do you think about this? Like, generally, when this announcement was made, what did you think?
It's a money fight. There's literally nothing to be gained over here in the form of glory for a guy like Floyd Mayweather. This is a guy who had an impressive streak. He's fought the likes of Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, and Oscar De La Hoya, and like this countless other names, and he has flowed all of them. They've all added to his legacy. And then he picked up that corner fight, which, as if anyone saw, he won that with ease. He was toying with Conor McGregor, right? You've
Yeah.
seen him go on the offensive. Uh, Floyd has clearly said that he doesn't even plan on training for this fight. He just wants to come in, dance around, knock Logan Paul out, which I genuinely believe he can. He has the capability to do. So yeah, I just think it's a circus fight at this point. Great for Logan. I think he's a showman. This is just a huge marketing gimmick. He's going to walk away with a lot of money. It's free money for Floyd. We know how much money means to him. His
Yeah.
his nickname is money. So yeah, that's just about it. It's just a circus show.
No, but when I heard for this fight happening, I couldn't believe that he's going to fight a YouTuber who lost to KSI and drew with him in the first match. Like that is one of the things that obviously it's an exhibition and people want to come and have a good time and stuff. But Floyd is putting his entire career on the line. Like even if he suppose we all know that he's a superior boxer, he's one of the best boxers of any generation. But imagine if Logan Paul knocks him out because it just takes one punch. We don't know. It might happen.
So the whole idea of one punch KOs is understandable, but when you consider the weight classes that these people fight in, now when you talk about one punch KOs, if that happens at say your middleweight, I mean like super middleweight, I'm sorry, boxing middleweight, MMA middleweights are different. So let's bump up those weight classes a bit. So if you're looking at around the heavyweight class, right?
Yeah.
That's a place where you're packing a lot of pounds in your punch. There's a lot of power that with which you deliver your punches. In this weight class, if I'm not mistaken, what they're fighting at 190.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
and Floyd has got a hell of a chin. He is without a doubt the greatest defensive boxer. I don't see Logan being able to keep up with Floyd's speed. Floyd may be old,
Hmm.
but it's not easy to make contact with Floyd with that level of power. And when you think about it, Conor McGregor, even as an MMA fighter,
Yeah.
known for his precision, wasn't able to take Conor out.
Hmm.
Sorry,
But it,
Floyd
it,
out.
it is a it
So,
is a very like hyped up fight in the first place. Floyd versus Conor, and
absolutely.
it should have been because they both are champions of their own respective. What do you say? क्या बोलते हैं?
Sports,
Yeah,
sports. Yeah.
sports. But when you have a Logan guy, like nothing against him, he has completely made himself a star. This
Absolutely.
is he's going to earn so much of money. He doesn't need to do anything else in the future. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Because it's Floyd Mayweather, and even Floyd must have seen, okay, this guy's an easy money, and taken the fight. But I don't understand what the boxing career or what the boxing has come to. They're not
Oh, for
genuine
sure.
boxers anymore.
Uh, I think they've just looked at boxing as a spectacle, right? And when you think about it in two ways, right? Now there's when you can look at it from a lens of a purist as a fight fan or as a business, right? Now, as a fight fan, yes, it's kind of silly how these mock rivalries or feuds are being given that spotlight, right? Because there's so many genuinely good boxers who aren't even given the limelight. Like think about
Correct.
it. So many more I feel like in today's world, so many more people resonate with Jake Paul as a boxer as
Yeah.
opposed to say Canelo. If I tell someone that, oh, Floyd beat Canelo, people are going to be like, who the fuck is Canelo? Right?
Hmm.
And he's one of the best boxers in this current generation. Like when you've considered Floyd as a retired boxer, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's come to. So it's as a business, as people who make money, it's great, right? For Logan Paul, he is putting his name out there, and millions of more people are going to know him. Brilliant for him. He's going to, like you said, he's going to make money. people will know who he is, and it's not going to. The only blemish it can make on Floyd Mayweather's record is that तू इतना घिरा हुआ है क्या? Like, have you really fallen
uh,
to this level to take a fight from Logan Paul? मतलब, there are other people who you could fight. Like, you can
yeah,
run it back with Conor McGregor, and people could probably respect that win. But what are you going to get from this? Like, you've got such respectable wins, and
yeah.
now dancing around again. The other thing is that him absolutely knocking out Logan Paul is questionable, right? Just given Logan Paul's size, given the reach difference.
Hmm.
He can the only way that could potentially happen is he's got to get Logan Paul completely gassed, which he will. And the moment Logan Paul lowers his gloves, he can probably sneak a TKO, like similar to how we did it with Conor, because you can't dance with Floyd, man. That guy is incredible.
No, actually, I saw the Pacquiao fight live when I think it was 6 years ago, I think,
Uh-huh.
and I was very angry at him. Like he's not fighting. When you're
Yeah,
not seeing boxing properly, and when you don't even see it, when you're seeing it for the first time, you want that Mike Tyson kind of punch. Because you see that video clippings on YouTube,
absolutely.
and you go like, "Hey man, this is what boxing, just go and knocking someone out and stuff." But when you see it, like even well, yesterday I saw a video where they were explaining how Floyd fights his fights. And I was like, every single thing he does is calculated. Every
Oh,
single
for
thing.
sure.
He uses his left shoulder in a way that I've not seen anyone use before or after. I don't think anyone can use it. And he goes back, and then he uses his right leg and the right arm, and he uses that force to knock you out. And he's done that consistently.
Oh
Every
yeah,
single, almost every fight, he does the same thing. And obviously, these boxers are much more aware as to what the technique is to
oh yeah,
counter him. But he still finds a way every time. Every time. And you, as you said, you were the best defensive boxer. If I see the Pacquiao fight now, I'll be like, you know what, he's a genius.
oh
I don't
yeah,
like him as a person, but as a boxer, man, that guy's
for
he
sure.
knows what he's doing. He's not just fucking around, too much.
And he doesn't get goaded. That's the best part. If you notice the fight with Conor, right? A lot of people said that he actually stepped in and started fighting. He did that because he knew he could tire Conor. He knew that he could
Mm,
start playing with him. Like, you
yeah,
never see him do that with others. Like, to the point where whenever Canelo fought him, I think he won by split decision against a Canelo who just started his career, right? And I think this fight happened, I think 6, 7 years ago. I'm not
Canelo
sure.
Alvarez, yeah,
Yeah, and this
yeah,
is like this is before Canelo even stepped into his prime, right? And he
mm,
just managed to lose to Floyd, right? Which is incredible in my opinion, right? And in that same vein, like, for him to come back, for him, like, again, Floyd is a champion. He makes adjustments, corrections to his game, fight after fight. The funny thing was he fought an exhibition match similar to this in Japan
yeah,
against
yeah.
a kickboxer, right? Knocked him out like this, like, someone in a similar weight class. Obviously, Logan Paul's a bigger guy. I see this fight being, uh, taken down a couple of rounds. That's what Floyd does. He gauges his fighters for the first couple of rounds, and then in the time that the fighters think that, okay, I've checked him a few times, I've landed like an inch of my glove near his face, I can get him. Then he starts dancing, he tires you out, and you're on the floor before you even know it. Like, I see this fight maybe lasting 3 rounds. I don't
That's
see it
it.
lasting more than that. Yeah, I don't think people underestimate how tired you can get in 3 to 4 rounds. Like Logan Paul was pretty tired against KSI, and you
And
know,
KSI, that match was like they were really going at it. Like they were
oh
punching
yeah,
the
oh yeah, they were
balls
they
off.
were they were hitting each other.
Yeah.
But this guy's going to go up against a guy who's going to be ducking, moving left, right, back and forth. This guy's going to be on a treadmill dancing, man. Like, that's exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be a dancing contest.
So you
Like,
think that Floyd will like dominate this match and finish it off easily?
I think he can get a TKO on Logan Paul by the third or fourth round. That's the way I see it. He's just going to get Logan completely tired by that time, because Logan's big. Logan's really
Yeah.
big.
Hmm.
So for him to like land a power knockout punch, I don't see that. I don't see Floyd knocking him out in like two punches. But I think he can throw a couple of combinations here and there, damage him, gas him out, and then knock him out. Like, I think
Maybe
it
maybe
goes
this
like
can go like all the way, but Floyd winning on
that.
points.
I don't imagine that happening in any scenario whatsoever. I feel like Logan lasting 8 rounds is not something that's going to happen against Floyd Mayweather. I just don't see it.
If he does, then he has a lot of respect from everyone, man.
I respect Logan for taking up this fight.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's true.
I there's whether it's Jake Paul or Logan to step into that ring and to look at a guy like that to even fight someone like that. Props to you, man. People are going to chat a lot of shit, but all fucking power to that guy. I think is.
No, I think after what he did, what happened with him in Japan,
Mhm.
the thing that the video that he uploaded and the way
Yeah,
his life has turned around, he's going to box Floyd Mayweather. Can you imagine? Can you imagine
yeah,
this guy
man.
at that time? When the video came out and the controversy came out and he was ridiculed and abused and whatever things happened, and now he's fighting Floyd Mayweather in like 5 years since then.
Yeah,
That is
it's
crazy.
crazy, man. And as a guy, he has grown. Like he
Hmm.
has his podcast. I, I dude, I think he's what 27, 28 years old. He's doing so well with he's just doing so well in life to try and do this shit. Like
Yeah.
imagine doing so well in your life to just go like, I'm just gonna fight Floyd Mayweather. Acha hua to hua, nahi hua to who cares? Like either way, I walk away with money.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. He's going to walk
damn,
with a
dude,
lot of
that's
money.
sick. So more power to Logan Paul, man. Crazy, crazy guy.
So your prediction is Mayweather knocking him out within 3 to 4 rounds.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say he would, win in 6, 7 rounds, but I still think Logan has a chance that 1 second, maybe. You never know because Mike Tyson also lost to a guy who no
Yeah,
one
I mean,
knew.
it's boxing. Anything can
Yeah,
happen. You can't ever rule that out. You can't ever
yeah.
but like you're taking a chance of that 1%. You're sticking to that 1%.
But
No.
anything, crazy things have happened in sports. Crazy things.
Yeah,
And
that's true
so let's see. It's going to be exciting for a neutral
for
guy
sure.
just seeing just like, okay, what's going to happen? Let's see. And I think people need entertainment after, especially after the
Yeah.
year we have had, in the world where people still are suffering. You can see a
Mhm.
situation in India where people are still going through problems and stuff due to COVID. I think it's a good distraction. I think when people particularly talk about sports, yeah, when they say that sports is not impactful, it is impactful in a huge way.
For
Whatever
sure.
sport you follow, it helps you mentally so much that you're like, what, you get distracted from the world's problems by for 3 to 4 hours. You want to enjoy. It's like that. And I know in America, in America everything is fine. Movies are being released, fights are happening, wrestling is happening. What else? Football is happening. What's soccer? No, football.
Football,
What else is
bro.
happening?
Fuck, can't call that soccer, bro. It's
Yeah. So we'll talk about this Mayweather, Logan Paul. Now we'll talk about the other guy,
Jake
Jake
Paul
Paul,
and Tyron Woodley.
Tyron Woodley. Man,
Oh,
this
Tyrion,
fight.
bro. You misspelled the name.
It's I thought Tyrion Lannister. I just said that. Okay. So what do you think about this one?
uh yeah, I saw this extremely interesting post earlier today.
Yeah.
It's like, and it said that trying to choose between Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul is like trying to choose between which World War was your favorite. Like,
Is he that like
like,
I haven't followed like Tyron enough, but I hope
um,
he's. I just want Jake to go, man. He's so irritating sometimes.
I don't know, man. Like, honestly, it's so controversial because like obviously I run this podcast called Jab Cross Hooked, and like
Yeah,
we were talking about Jake Paul and boxing and the same topic again, which is the state of combat sports today, right?
yeah,
And how some of these guys don't have the balls to step into an octagon with someone who specializes in the octagon, not just the boxing ring where you're
correct.
using all your limbs, right,
Hmm.
including wrestling.
Yeah,
Now, at the end of the day, Jake Paul he's my age, man. I think he's 23 or 24, right? And this is a guy who still managed to knock out Ben Askren. Now, like at this point, I think Jake Paul is trying to play that villainous character. It's again a charade. It's a character.
no,
He
I think
wants
it's
to
it's
get on
it's
people's
yeah,
nerves.
I think it's like WWE where he's becoming the
He's
villain.
a heel.
He's like
He's a
yeah, he's a
heel.
heel exactly, and it's fun to see a guy who's embracing that heat and he's getting money obviously
Abs-
for it, and
Absolutely.
he's doing a job, and
I
I
think he's a
fully credit for that.
fucking genius. Like
Yeah,
I
he
know
is.
he's annoying. I know he's irritating,
Hmm.
but he did the one he did his job. His job is
Hmm.
to get your eyes on him. He
Yeah,
doesn't care if you like him or hate him. He's making money every time someone turns their head and goes like, "Oh, that's Jake Paul," right?
yeah,
Every time someone says "fuck Jake Paul," he's making money. Every time people say, "Oh, I love Jake Paul," he's making money. And
correct.
for a 24-year-old guy who's been in combat sports for all of 2 minutes,
Yeah.
to have the balls to go fight Tyron Woodley is incredible. In fact, um, you know, when you look at the way both these guys fight, when you kind of compare Floyd and Tyron Woodley, obviously Floyd's the better boxer without a shadow of a doubt. But Tyron Woodley is an MMA killer
Hmm.
earlier. Now, when you have to consider the fact that over the past 3 years, Tyron's career has been one deep downward like slope. So he's had 4 to 5 losses. Let's see if I've calculated that
Correct.
right.
You're right.
He's lost he lost to
Usman.
Kamaru Usman, then
Yeah.
he lost to Covington, then he lost to Gilbert Burns, then he lost to Vicente Luque. So he's
Yeah.
lost 4 fights, right?
Within
And
like 2 years.
2 years. And unfortunately, he hasn't won a single round in those 4 fights.
Hmm.
You get it? Like he hasn't been victorious in any sense in the last 4 years. I mean, in the last 3 years. Sorry. And obviously, he wants to avenge Ben Askren. A huge differences here is that Ben Askren never really boxed. The big
Exactly.
advantage of being in MMA is that you're kind of utilizing your other powers,
Aspects. Yeah.
And I think the only time Ben Askren would use his hands is if he's ground and pounding someone after taking them down, just to weaken them before either just lying on them or putting them into a lock or a choke.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley isn't that way. His submissions he had a spree of submissions at the beginning of his career, and then towards the latter half, when he started actually winning a lot of fights, it was a combination of TKOs and decision wins. Right now, Tyron Woodley is someone who can go the distance. He's got excellent cardio, and let's understand that this guy's fighting 5 minute rounds in the octagon,
Yeah.
right? Taru only goes 5 minutes with each fighter, and they're using everything. He's used to people taking him down, facing pressure, being down, getting ground and pounded with nothing to, you can't move when you're ground and pounded.
Correct.
So, as long he's got till August to refine his boxing and head movement, right?
Yeah.
And this is still a guy like Jake Paul, who, for the record, I think is on a good path, great path. The guy started, to think about it, right? He took more damage from Deji in his first fight than he did against Ben Askren.
Oh
And
my god, man, that was crazy.
even I felt that the Ben Askren fight was a bullshit call. Like that was a bullshit referee call. You don't just um you don't
Stop
just
it.
what do you call, stop a fight like that
Yeah. Just
without.
suddenly.
Yeah, because Ben Askren was fine. Ben Askren wobbles normally. Like, he's taken bigger hits than that in continued fights. But, I felt that referee was I felt that match was highly rigged. Ben Askren walked away with a milli. I don't think he cared.
Yeah, you
So,
could you can see that he was not even giving you a shit as to he lost, and he was smiling, and he was like, I
not in
want
the
money.
least bit.
And
But you've got a killer in terms of Tyron Woodley, and man, I think this guy is coming back because this is where he gets to take his frustrations out.
I was going to
He
ask you that only. That does he need this more than Jake
I
Paul?
believe so. I believe so. And Jake Paul, I think, is always better at mind games because while Tyron was the champion, he was pretty decent on the mic, I guess. Like he stood up for himself. Even
Yeah.
when he fought Usman, he was trash talking Usman, right? Now this is a guy who's lost to pretty much everyone he's like a like like a torch passer. Everyone who
Hmm.
went on to become something, to get some really good shots in the UFC, ended up beating Tyron Woodley. Like Tyron Woodley was still beaten by some of the best, like
Yeah.
and Jake Paul, I believe, is really using Tyron's mental state. In the recent face-off, when you saw that, Jake Paul ended up goading Tyron Woodley. He told him that if Tyron wins, he'll double the purse, and if Tyron loses, Tyron has to forfeit his purse and give it to a charity of Jake Paul's choice. Like he's already fucking with Tyron Woodley, you know.
Yeah. He is, and it's fun to see that kind of a character in boxing, because boxing has become much boring now. You are talking about MMA all the time. You're talking about Conor. You're talking about one of the best MMA fighters, in Khabib. And now Khabib is gone. You're looking for someone. You're looking for a new star in boxing and in MMA. Because I
I
think in
think
Conor,
boxing and MMA have their stars already, man. People don't know about it because they're not aware. The
yeah,
difference
because
is corners, they're not as great on the mic.
yeah,
They're not hype people, you know.
Conor is next level, man. I love his trash talks. And I saw Jake doing the similar kind of things that how Connor does. But when you try to copy someone, people really call you out like this, and then people, are like, okay, do your own thing, dude, do your own thing, and he's doing it now. I think he's doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because like the more in it's a very tough thing to ride on, right? Because
Hmm.
the more inflammatory you are, the more you are out there trying to get into people's heads.
Yeah,
Um, you need to back that up with skill. Okay.
correct.
Now, Jake Paul's fight history has basically just been who? It was Deji, then Aneeson Gibb, and then Nate Robinson,
Yeah,
right?
Nate, yeah,
He did a good job against Aneeson Gibb, but I guess again, Aneeson Gibb was the most unorthodox like YouTube fighter. Nate Robinson is a boxer. Great, he's an athlete. He still knocked the daylights out of him. Great short left hook. Good for him, right? Ben Askren, till now, bullshit call, right? So now, I feel like this is the second time going up against a proper fighter who's been doing this for a living. And
yeah,
second, who knows his way around striking. That
yeah.
wasn't like Ben Askren on a bag just looked terrible.
Hmm.
Tyron Woodley on a he's extremely powerful. He knocked the daylights out of Robbie Lawler. Yes, it happened in 2017 or 2018.
It's just the
But,
skill.
absolutely, absolutely. Like Tyron is still like he's here to vent his frustrations out. I think that for him, the amount he needs this win is crazy.
More than Jake, which is actually sounding
Absolutely,
crazy.
because it's such a. I feel like Tyron is in a very weird position right now because if he wins, people will be like, I mean, you just knocked out a YouTuber, big fucking deal. And if he loses, people are like, wow, you lost to a YouTuber. Jake has everything to gain in this fight, which is why I think it was a genius move for him to take this fight. Because that's already adding a lot of mental stress to Tyron Woodley.
No,
Like,
but yeah, suppose if Jake wins, for example, like let's discuss both ways.
yeah.
If Jake wins and Tyron loses, do you think Jake is a legitimate boxer now
Oh, for sure. 100%.
after
100%.
beating Tyron?
You can't take that away from him.
Hmm.
I think the fact that he even agreed to step in a ring with Ben Askren is ballsy enough. Again, might be a marketing gimmick, but got to give respect where respect's due, right? Because
Yeah, but he's being smart. He's choosing his opponents very smart till Ben Askren, but Tyron is a different animal altogether
absolutely,
compared to
absolutely,
Ben.
and this is where I'm glad he's like challenging himself because it's not like he wasn't an idiot to pick someone like Conor McGregor who could floor Jake Paul. He could murder Jake Paul in like 2 rounds,
Yeah,
right?
easily.
But he went through Ben Askren, conditioned himself for that fight, trained for that fight properly,
Yeah,
then went up against Tyron. Like he's basically making people think he's an easy win. But there's so much that goes into this. I feel like there's also a lot of psychological warfare, which is employing very smartly, like Connor. Again, I don't think Jake Paul has the skills to back it up the way Connor did. Connor
yeah,
chatted shit but knocked people out.
yeah. But yeah,
Jake
correct.
Paul did it in a very questionable way the first time around, and I don't think he has it in him to take down someone like Tyron Woodley because again, Tyron's is ripped from a different material. Like
Hmm.
they're not woven out of the same cloth.
Yeah,
Like Tyron, like he's getting into a place where Tyron's pretty familiar with it. He knows how to throw hands.
correct.
So
And Jake
you
is just
know,
starting out, so you don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah, a lot of respect. He's going to walk away with a lot of money, but I see Tyron taking this in again. I would say 3 to 4 rounds because the thing with boxing is people gauge a lot. Like your first couple of rounds, you spend in checking each
Figuring
other.
out your figuring out and how the movements are and how this guy is who's attacking more. It's like football, like for the first 15-20 minutes where you're just like seeing what's going on, and in boxing also in the first round particularly, it's just
Absolutely.
like not no one is like Mike Tyson just come and murder people out, and Mike Tyson was a different animal. But with Jake Paul and Logan Paul getting these fights, man, these brothers are just causing mayhem, and they
Oh yeah,
deserve it.
for sure.
They are
They're,
they're
they're
putting
getting they're
themselves
getting this is where the business aspect comes in. They're turning heads towards boxing,
correct.
right? Like it's because of I feel like it's because of these fighters that people kind of are, oh, Showtime's a thing, and like they're attracting a lot of casual like YouTuber fans into boxing, right?
Yeah,
What I'm afraid of though is how is this going to affect the future? Because like tomorrow when bigger boxers fight, is this going to be something that people are going to be looking forward to? Are they only going to keep looking at these celebrity boxing matches? Like There's Vita Belfort and this guy called Real Tarzan, where Vito Belfort is done. Like, I understand that you're trying to revive boxing, but you know,
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
like to see actual
yeah,
boxers who have trained, for whom for whom the fighting means something. It's their
correct.
livelihood, their
Hmm.
record matters. Like
Hmm.
Jake Paul, at the end of the day, if he wins or loses, it's not going to really make an impact. This guy is going to be a YouTuber, an
Correct.
entertainer,
Yeah.
you know? Like, and I feel like that's the only downside to this. The people for whom it really matters, they don't get that attention. So,
That's true, that's really true because it's just like how marketable are you at the end
absolutely.
of the day. They don't give a damn about how boxing, how good of a boxer you are, what boxing skills you have. At the end of the day, can you sell fights? Can you get more views? Can you get more money? And
Yep.
I get that part also. Like I understand that okay, people want to earn money and it's a business at the end of the day. MMA or boxing, it's a business. But when you're talking about Conor McGregor, like being the guy, like he obviously his time from 14 to 16 was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
For sure.
He tortured Jose Aldo, yeah. Then he tortured every single person he was facing, and even Floyd Mayweather, the kind of trash talk they were having. And it's business. It's like getting people to see more and more. Obviously, he earned 100 million and Floyd to earn 200 million. But with Connor, he was smart to go back to what he knows, for example. And he went to a proper UFC fighters. Now, Floyd is going back to fighting YouTubers.
Yeah,
It is a little bit embarrassing. Kia, why are you doing it, bro? Why are you doing
I
it? You don't
agree.
need to do it.
I agree. I agree. For sure. For sure. Like, for what it's worth, I respect McGregor because, he came back. And this is where the main thing changes, right? Because despite how good Conor McGregor is, after he chatted that kind of shit and went on to fight Floyd and lost, he then went on to chat shit to Khabib. He lost, and then that whipped him into humility. Then
Yeah,
against Donald Cerrone, he was very respectful. Against Dustin Poirier, extremely respectful.
that was
And
shocking. The Dustin
and
Poirier behavior, like he was so humble.
exactly, exactly. And the
Yeah.
thing with that is, the reason why I felt that was uncalled for is because a lot of people understand that, just like how there are faces and heels, people like Jake Paul, they're heels, they put on a character. Conor McGregor puts on that trash talking character because it's part of psychological warfare. He beat Jose Aldo and Eddie Alvarez before he walked in.
Yeah.
Like, he had
Easily.
that fight won before he walked in. And
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest strengths that he has going for him. And I honestly believe that Jake Paul is kind of heading in that same direction. Like, psychologically, you've kind of won, right? And the thing is that the moment he lost, he kind of became humble. And even after losing with humility, he went on to take Dustin Poirier again.
Hmm.
He didn't bitch out of it. He didn't go back to, because he had the opportunity to fight potentially Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather in a celebrity
Yeah.
show. He didn't do that. He chose
Yeah.
his legacy over this thing, even though it meant that he has a very good chance of losing.
Yeah.
You
Dustin Poirier
know,
is a good fighter. Like a lot of respect for him as well.
he's the
And
best lightweight right now in the division.
yeah, and
Like,
yeah, and the fight between him and Connor will be actually good. Like everyone's going to be excited for it, and
yeah.
I hope Connor wins because I'm a big fan of Connor and the things he has done. The way he's risen and the things he's doing now. Like he's the highest paid athlete in the world. Can you believe it?
Yeah, man, that's something that everyone can look up to him. That guy's inspirational, without a shadow of a doubt. He's inspirational, and it just goes to show that you can make stupid decisions later on in your life, like him throwing like a dustbin and whatnot at Khabib's bus. Like, he caused a ruckus. That
Yeah,
was
that
so
was stupid.
immature. That was so
Yeah,
uncalled for. He's turned a new leaf. He's working on himself. He's gone on to become the best, one of the highest paid athletes in the world.
I think
It's
he's.
insane.
I think after becoming a father, he's changed a lot. Like you
Oh yeah.
see him on Instagram. He's spending time with his kids, and the Dustin Poirier behavior. I couldn't believe that he was so humble and so calm.
Because Dustin's also that kind of guy. Like, Dustin's I know we've kind of really weaved off topic over here with the Dustin Poirier thing, but like, just to summarize it, it's just that Dustin's come a long way,
Hmm.
and he let Connor's trash talk get to him in the first fight, but Dustin's fought, like, I think 8 more fights than Connor has, or no, maybe 8 is a bit too much, maybe 5, 6, I don't know the numbers, more than Connor's fought since their
Yeah.
last meeting, right? And he doesn't let that shit get to him. right? Because
Hmm.
he knows he's one of the best. He knows he's taken down Dan Hooker. He was the first person to knock out McGregor. The guy's on a high.
Yeah,
So, the same way I feel like Jake Paul, I don't think has the skills to back up that kind of trash talk. Big
correct,
up, he's got balls of steel to walk into a boxing ring with Tyron Woodley. I think any of us would have shat ourselves to try to even think about doing that.
correct.
So yeah, man. Again, it's one of those fights again where he has everything to gain, and Tyron has nothing to gain, and he's been picking these situations to fuck with these guys psychologically, right? Like,
He's picking the players, or sorry, he's picking the boxers who are vulnerable and who need some kind of like they need Jake.
mhm,
Like for Ben Askren, he needed Jake to get more money.
for
Tyron
sure.
needs Jake to redeem himself. So he knows, and he's smart. He's one smart guy, and flip it.
Ideally, I'd like to see him fight someone where the for whom again the boxing record part of it makes sense.
Yeah,
I think, like, for even if that someone is as silly as Tommy Fury, because Tommy Fury has clout backed up by Tyson Fury, right? So it's still a fight that could sell. But Tommy Fury is still someone who's in boxing for the love of boxing, regardless of the fact that he's basically fought like 10th graders the whole time, like people
mm.
who've got losses amounting up to, like, the records of the combined people that he's fought so far, like I think like 10 wins and like 150 losses or something. Like, it's really bad. So,
So it is really bad. But the last topic I want to talk to you about is the thing that really has disappointed me in terms of
uh
like this not happening is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury in terms of the kind of nonsense that's happening. What do you think? Like, are you disappointed with this not happening?
100%, 100%, because Anthony Joshua is a straight up murderer. He's someone who's made adjustments to his game, and me and my friend had this argument earlier. Not this argument, just had a debate where who we thought would win that fight. Because the thing with Anthony Joshua is he's got more agility, he's
Yeah.
quicker, and he lands his punches a lot more precision, right? And Tyson Fury, on the other hand, is just backed with raw power and an extremely difficult, like extremely crazy chin. Like, you can't just knock Tyson Fury out. Like, you've got to put the work in. And I feel like the one person who has that tenacity to stay with him in that ring and take him out would probably have been Anthony Joshua, and it that would have been an absolute spectacle. It's just so sad that that fight's not happening.
Do you think after the respective fights that these two have, you'll see them fighting again?
I, Absolutely. You can't not have this because they're both in their prime right now. Like, it'd be criminal. It'd be almost criminal to not make this match. So, I think for what it's worth, they've salvaged the situation a little bit by putting Fury and Wilder, because you can argue that a third fight is warranted because there was a draw and Fury won one. The way we're going, I think if Fury wins this, which I kind of see him winning,
Yeah.
then you've kind of sealed that legacy off, like, you, and then Fury can properly focus on Anthony Joshua. um Maybe there's something in the back of Fury's head where he's not convinced with the fashion in which he's beaten Deontay Wilder. So, you know
Do you
i
think
i,
it's
I think
the
I think it's okay to
hmm.
postpone it by like maybe a year max. Like, don't do it now, but like, please make it happen by the end of the year or like early next year.
But if these two fights are concluded by September, I think early next year in Jan or Feb they will fight each other because they both need to win. They have matches, and they need to win because then the value of the boxing match will increase more because if he's defeating Wilder and Anthony Joshua, I think who is he facing? I think he's facing uh,
Anthony Joshua.
Usyk. I think, yeah. I think Usyk.
I
Yeah, he'll be facing Usyk,
Yeah,
which,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Which is, yeah. But I think they're waiting on I think they're just waiting on the fight. They're not doing it yet.
But the
So
But the Tyson, what disappointed me is the fucking bullshit that's happening in terms of the teams. If you know there's a problem with Wilder, finish that off instead of announcing the fight with Joshua because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
embarrassing yourself, man. You're like, "Arey man, what is this? How can you not arrange?"
yep, yep. It doesn't really make you look that good, considering all the shit talk that kind of transpired between the two of them.
Yeah,
Um, no, man, and also, like, this is like, the reason I love Anthony Joshua is because this guy moves
Yeah, he's so
very
big and he
unlike
moves, man. Yeah.
very unlike a heavyweight. Like, you don't see heavyweights move with that kind of agility, which is why I think he's going to be a real problem for Tyson Fury. Because yes, Tyson Fury has got the he's definitely got stamina. There's no doubting that. But I think if you're really comparing just these two, I genuinely believe that Anthony Joshua has an edge on that note because he's someone who's made adjustments. He's made adjustments after the Andy Ruiz fight, right?
Yeah, when he lost.
So exactly, and Ruiz is someone with little to no mobility and pure power. Like that was it, right? And he kept and that's exactly what he did. He danced around Ruiz the second fight and won. Like
Yeah,
he
same.
made
He
that's
played it
all it
smart.
was. Exactly. So yeah, man, I'm just sad that's not happening. But then again, I think the other two fights that are there are really great, and you made an excellent point. It makes the fight a lot more valuable when they actually fight each other.
Yeah, but if they
So
win, they need to win, both of them.
which I see happening most likely because again, Tyson Fury is coming out of a what do you call he's in a very different phase in his life. Coming out of the substance abuse, the depression, and whatnot. I feel like his approach and view towards life in general is just crazy. He's here with this warrior mentality,
Yeah.
and he projects that everywhere else that he goes, right? And he proved it when he fought Deontay Wilder,
Yeah, I think
right?
even the first match where he was like knocked out and he just risen up like the Undertaker and just like no, walking normally, nothing happened.
That was fucking incredible, dude. Like that's just testament to how great this man is. So,
Yeah, I
like,
mean it's inspiring, when you see these kind of matches and you see these kind of personalities coming out. And obviously these two need to fight. If they are undefeated even after these two matches, after the matches that they have, they need to fight. No bullshit.
yeah.
Both UK people, Wembley Stadium, whatever. They should profit on this, man. People will
Oh,
buy this stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like, and the main thing is that this isn't going to be like Joshua Ruiz 2 either, because this is going to be a fight where, like, obviously Tyson Fury is quicker than Andy Ruiz. There's a bigger threat of actually getting knocked the fuck out by Tyson Fury. So like, oh man, I can't wait. I feel like this might just be the most entertaining boxing match we've probably witnessed in the past couple of years, including the one with Tyson, including Fury Wilder.
I think it'll be the biggest boxing match ever in like maybe in 20 years.
I don't know, man. I feel like there are a couple of others that could have probably outranked that, right? Because
No,
Floyd
I'm
Mayweather, Manny
talking about
Pacquiao,
the
kind of.
in terms of the pay-per-view buys. I think this will be up there
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, for sure.
because
And
people will buy this stuff, man. They will be like, you know what, we want to see this.
and funnily enough, the reason why I want to see this as well is because Deontay Wilder's bullshit excuse that my entrance costume was weighing in on me, and I'm just like, alright, bro, like take
Is
that
that
excuse
embarrassing?
out,
Is that
prove
embarrassing
yourself.
for a fighter to make? Like you lost, accept it, man.
It was horrible, man. It was.
Like okay, you were not good, but okay, you can accept that and just move on. Like how this guy Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. He didn't bullshit around. He went to camera,
Yep.
go and recover and come back. And that's what a fighter does. He doesn't make excuses after he loses. But Wilder was making some bullshit claims after claims. The glove is not right. This is not there. This is not there. I'm like, and I want Tyson to knock Wilder out. Like finish this bullshit out properly. And you know what? Because
Yeah.
in that fight, Wilder, he was looking lost.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to
Yeah.
do.
He looked
And
very dazed. He it wasn't the Wilder that fought Tyson Fury like 3 years ago. This is a completely different Deontay Wilder fighting. And
yeah,
yeah, man. I think the only reason I want Tyson Fury to probably beat Deontay Wilder so that he can fight Anthony Joshua, because
correct.
if that doesn't happen, you've got to run it back again for a fourth time, and then you've got to fight Anthony Joshua. Sad part about combat sports is you don't know what might happen to you physically. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to really capitalize on the time that these guys are in their prime. So
And when
yeah.
he's 32, he's 31, and they're like similar age, similar style in terms of like, the height is the reach are the same, and it's like it's very rare to see these it's like Stone Cold and The Rock.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's like that perfect dance, like they have the
Yeah.
right dancing partner. and they're both going to go down in history either which way this title fight goes. And more
Correct.
importantly, it's also, for the WBC and the ring heavyweight title, like, at least with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. And then with Anthony Joshua, I think it's the WBO title that's going to be there,
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah.
not
He
mistaken.
he retained WBA, WBO, and IBO and IBF. And Anthony
Okay,
Joshua,
yeah. So Anthony Joshua has the WBA, yeah. So there's a lot more to be
and he
fighting for
has
there.
while I mean this guy also Tyson Fury has the WBC and the ring.
Okay, yeah.
So
And
he
his
has
name
four, he has one. So
was
they want to get all five.
so much to
But
gain.
and it's good for like for an entertainer, like not for entertainer, but for entertainment. There's a lot of things to be okay, that can happen in the future, and that makes you excited. Okay, we can see this. We can see this happening, and that's all we want. As fans or whatever. Even if I'm not a pure boxing fan, but I like to see proper boxers fight each other.
Hmm.
That is one. I mean, I think you also want it. Like the
Oh
UFC,
yeah,
even
for
the
sure, for sure. Because we've just been embroiled in this whole entertainment boxing and celebrity boxing as opposed to actual boxing. And yeah, we really need this. We definitely need a fight of this magnitude to
because
kind
these
of
are
propel boxing up.
because these are actual boxers who have actually
Yeah.
risen from the bottom and they're like come to the top. This isn't
Yep.
like Jake Paul fight or Logan Paul fight. This is like boxing fight. No entertainment bullshit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the last topic we'll talk today. Thank you, Nikhil, again for joining me.
Yeah,
It's
thank
been
you so much
amazing.
for having me, bro. Really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
Really.
we'll do it again when these fights happen. We'll definitely do it
Absolutely.
again.
Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor next month, bro. So,
I'm going for
yeah.
Conor, man. I hope Conor wins.
Oh
I really
man,
do. Sure, okay. Thank you so much for joining
absolutely.
me in.
Thank you so much for having me, bro.
People who are seeing this, please like and subscribe. Take care and peace, brother.
Thank you so much, bro. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.